train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. Godly parenting can be achieved by both the father and the mother, but because this is a women's forum program, I will stick to our role as women in parenting. I'll start by just telling us a short story. One bright, beautiful morning, I woke up to prep my family for the day. At that time, my first child was less than a year old. I had my phone ringing. I checked and picked up. It was a call from my sister, my younger sister, and she had a news for me, a bad news, the kind of news that no parents wants to hear concerning their teenager. The last girl in our family, we are a family of 7, 5 girls, 2 boys. The last girl in our family was pregnant at that time. I was shocked. The worst was yet to come. I mean, she was 7 months pregnant as at the time I received that phone call. And we, the family, just got to know the early hours of that morning. Being the oldest child around, my elder sister siblings were out of the country. I was the oldest in Nigeria at that time, so I had to go and break the news to my parents. As you can imagine, we're worried. As you expect, her reaction was, what happened? How? Why? When? As in, my mom was like, why me? My enemy has caught up with me at last. African moms, the way they are. Where did we go wrong? I ponder on that question. I'll just give a little intro about myself. I've been in youth ministry for about 30 years, been mentoring, coaching, teaching other youths, right from when I was a youth myself, when I was still a teenager, basically. I became a youth minister about 23 years ago. We were called Mordecais in my church at that time. They said that you're as old in parenting as your first child. I am now 18 years old in parenting, so I'm still a teenager basically. So I'm going to be talking about parenting from all you've heard the intro I've given so far. How many of us have bought an equipment or a gadget, but you are at a loss on how to couple it together? But you search the box, you got the manual, and you're able to put it together. Sometimes you even go as far as watching videos on YouTube to understand how to actually set it up. But I realized early on in my parenting responsibility, my parenting circle, that my children did not come with a manual. Their manufacturer simply forgot to include one when they were coming. So today we'll be taking us through understanding the circles of life of our children. And I broke it down into 3 stages. The early childhood stage, from birth to 8. We have the middle childhood. We have that is from 8 to 12. Then we have that of the adolescent. That's the teenage age from age 12 to 18 and a little beyond. Now, let's start from that of the 8 years. This is the formative years when our children observe. They basically observe. They clap, they smile. They're happy to see mommy. They're happy to see daddy. Many people think the 0 to kindergarten years is the hardest. At last I'm free. Oh no, but you're just getting started. That is just the truth. Many hand over the emotional well-being of their children to the Sunday school teachers, to the teachers in their schools. Many parents support their children. They work hard and, they buy expensive toys to support the lifestyle they've created for their children. But let me tell you that a toy of £1, of £10, of £1,000 is just a toy to a child. They will play with it, break it, and you'll be angry. They've broken it. Well, it's just a toy. They don't know the value, the monetary value of the toy which you've bought for them, because they desire your attention more than the gifts your money can buy. How many of us pay attention to our children? This, like I said, this is predominantly the age where they are observing. They're easily influenced by the people around them. This is when they are forming their cultural values, Christian values, religious values. They are forming the language that they will use to communicate all through their life. And emotional attachments or non-emotional attachments, they're observing how you handle relationship and how you form relationship, which may define how they are able to handle relationship later in their lives. And we have the middle childhood, that is the 8 to 12 years. Now they are called, some people call them the preteen, trainee. At this stage, they want to practicalize everything they have observed you do. That is when you see them putting on your shoes. They want to share in some of the things which you are doing. They go to your room, try on your makeup and stuff like that. So at this stage, you have to be very careful who you allow into your environment during this early childhood stage, the development stage of your children, the experimental stage. This stage is also characterized by physical growth. Then you see them developing interpersonal relationships, social relationships. Their self-awareness creeps in on our children, and they begin to start forming relationship outside the family. For many of them, they want to join clubs, social clubs. They want to join um maybe football clubs, music club. They want to sing in the choir in the church, and they are beginning to socialize and form life skills. But sadly, that is when our career is booming. Mommy and daddy are off to work, and we don't give them their attention. Then we have the adolescent stage, which is the age 12 to 18 and beyond. And this is when they are forming their identity, formation of identity, and they're bonding, friendship, and they want to establish independency. This stage is like they're also growing their sexual awareness. Many of them have, gone, they start puberty, and many of them are now sexually aware. And of course, their hormone is changing. I'm going through menopause right now, the stages, so I can understand the hormonal changes that happens in my body and how it is wreaking havoc here and there. And you can just imagine how you were as a teenager in those days, what was happening to you, and how you were always angry with mommy and blah blah blah. And things have they are individual children, I'll say, and they are confronted by diverse changes happening at once. In the school, they are being introduced to people, they are undergoing a lot of physical changes, they are also encountering new situation, more responsibility. Sometimes we tell them to take care of their younger ones, and they're trying on new roles. Many of them take up responsibility in school, in churches, and in the society at large. And many of them start working at a certain age, not at 12, definitely. And in their attempt to gain independence, they see themselves as young adults, right? Then we now start having conflict at home. They don't want to do what you have said, the way you have said it. Then they now start aligning with their friends, with their peers, because they are facing the same thing and they have agreement that they are right. Of course, they're in the same political party, so they are all right. So what you are saying is in conflict with what they believe. Then pressure starts happening at home. So how then can we build or transform our relationship with our children? I have some strategies which I've used over time. I'm not a preacher. I'm just somebody that believes in children so much, in teenagers especially. But because I know we have diverse set of people here today listening, but I will be focusing majorly on teenagers. They are my passion. Understanding our role as guidance, mothers, or as an individual that have an impact or a role to play in the life of teens. I want us to see God as our employer. and the children as the products. We are working for somebody to produce something. Imagine yourself, the parent, as the gardener, and our children as flowers that we have to that are in a garden that we have to tend. We, it's summer right now, and I mean, getting gradually into summer. The flowers are blooming, trees are coming up with leaves and all that. Somebody tends them. And how do they do that? They water them, they feed them, they nurture, they prune them. And all this thing requires patience, and which you have to do step by step, gradually, with time. I'll concentrate on just one, and that is intentional listening. The best gift as a mother that you can give your child is to be a good listener. Without criticism, without judging them, but with kindness, with empathy, with love, with compassion. Imagine how you feel when you have that child, when they place that child in your hands. They are like the mirror of God. I mean, we are like mirror. We are like God. There's an adage in Yoruba language that Yani, Jigi, as in the mother is like the mirror. Yeah. So many youths are leaving our churches today because they don't see us practice what we are preaching. But we do something else. What are we sharing? What are the principles we are passing on to our children? One day, in one of the youth programs I was one of the coordinators of while in Nigeria, a youth walked up to me and said, "Can you help me talk to my mom?" I was like, "Talk to your mom?" I said, "Why, darling? What is it?" She said, "I need you to talk to my mom." What she said astonished me. She said, whenever friends come from school or from the neighborhood, she's always directing them to come to my room. And there's a particular girl, anytime she comes, she touches me. And she touches me funny. And she's been threatening that she sort of beats me up if I don't allow her access to my body. This girl is an only child. To cut the long story short, we went to the parents' house and we talked to the parents. We explained to them. They were shocked. They said they just thought they didn't think much of it when she says, "Mommy, let anybody that comes to look for me stay in the sitting room." So I want to ask us, how do we listen to our children? What are we listening? Do we listen to what they are saying? And what they are not saying what they are not saying is powerful. I'll start by asking you, what do you understand by listening? Listening is not hearing. Listening is just taking in sound without effort to perceive it, to perceive what it means. Many times we say, "I've heard you now." I've heard you. But did you really hear? What did you hear? Sometimes the children will say, "Mommy, did you hear me?" And you're like, later you say, "What did that child say? What did she say?" And you can't even remember because you were not listening. So what is listening? Listening is purposeful, is focused, requires attention, concentration to understand what the speaker, what your teenager is telling you. It requires effort. Paying attention is like you're trying to understand what the other person is trying to tell you, to decode from it what they are saying. The tone of their voice, you check. Their body language, the tone of their voice, their body language speaks a language which you need to decode. Verbal message and non-verbal. It requires you to be intentional and not accidental in the way you listen to your children. When we parents don't listen intentionally, it sometimes boils down to maybe we are busy, we are being overprotective, thinking that by not allowing them to do certain things, we are protecting them. But half of the time, they end up doing that thing and we face the consequence. It falls on us to now correct it. Have you heard kids say, "All she will do is shout"? Yes, you shout. You too shout. Too much, you shout. Many of us are in the shouting moms club. I'm guilty. But I'm out of that club. I don't shout again. I don't shout. Let me be sincere. So, how can we be good listeners to our teenagers? What are the signs? What are the things we can do? Like I said, it's been intentional. We have the nonverbal, like you smile, you nod, you maintain eye contact with them. You, I mean, I can remember while growing up, my mom can use her eyes to say a full sentence without actually opening her mouth. Full sentence with her mouth, with her eyes. You will look at her, you will know what she says. I know many of you can relate because I know at least this is an African community and you can relate with that. My mom is an expert. Listening is just not with the ears, right? You listen with your eyes. The eyes is the gateway to the soul. You maintain eye contact. Many of you cannot even look at your teenage children in the eye. You cannot maintain eye contact for you cannot even hug them. It feels awkward. Like, I can remember vividly that the last time or when I can actually say my mom hugged me was on my wedding day. How many of us freely give hugging as a gift to our children? But let's digress. Let's just go on. The body posture. We can adjust our body posture. When your gist partner comes, how do you react? I say, there's gist. I want to tell you something. Then you move your chair and you say, what is it? You can do the same thing to your children. Lean in. Then you can do like this. You are listening. You can slant your head towards their direction. You are listening. That is not the time for you to be looking at your phone, looking at the window to see a neighbor passing, or, be watching TV. You don't need that. I work from home. And I must be honest, many times when children come they just barge into my mini office and they're like, mommy, this, I'm like, okay, I'm working. Can we talk about this later? And I tell them, can we talk about it after 5 or later in the evening? If they tell me, whatever time they pick, determines, help me to judge how sensitive or how much that thing matters to them. If they say, okay, later in the evening, then I know, okay, it's not urgent. Then, believe you me, I quickly note it down because of the nature of my job. I always have a diary open. I note it down or I take my phone and just type it. It doesn't take you time to just put it on your phone to remind you because you will forget. And for me, I have tools. I have phone that I've bought that I can use. So I just put it in there to remind me to ask my child what she wanted to say or what he wants to say. It's cheaper for me in the long run. And it shows that I care. The timing they select, then I go back to them, then we talk about it. Then, there are other things which you can do in terms of when you want to be vocal. You can say, really? They come to you, really? I see. Oh, I get it. All those cues, all those things. You can say it to kind of like prompts. They are like prompts that you say that you make them to talk more to you, to open up. Don't be judgmental. Don't assume. I'm guilty as charged as well. Don't fill in the gaps for them when they want to talk to you. Listen. It's so very easy, but difficult to do. Don't jump into the comments with your own and assume that it is the way with them as it was with you when you were their age. No, it's different. How old were you then? What year was that? Things are different. At their time, they never had coronavirus. My son was asking me, how was school? He was asking his siblings, my year 7 child, how was school when they first got to, secondary school. And I was like, gosh, this child didn't experience normalcy in secondary school, starting out secondary school year. So things are a bit different. So don't judge. I will give you an example. Then you say, so, what do you mean? So what are you trying to tell me? Your tone of voice can be so very, it can threaten them. I'm like, she has started. When we start talking, the children will just like that. And it's not so nice. I'm guilty as well. I'm working my way towards some of these things, but that's why we're sharing. I'll give you a brief example. My little nephew told me that he wants to be a garbage man. I'm sure in your mind you said, God forbid. But why? What is God forbidding out of it? You don't know if he's going to be the CEO of a refuse recycling company where you'll be counting the money and some people will be on the streets picking the garbage. After all, Aliko Dangote, that owns the richest, is it the richest man in Africa? He doesn't go to the farm to pick the tomatoes. They use the manufacturing the tomato paste in one of the factories he owns. So what are we talking about? So don't start rejecting and saying all sorts of things before they land. You can channel. The glass can be half full or half empty, depends on your perspective. Why? How can we establish that rapport with our teenagers who wants their child to be a very successful person in life? I'm sure we all do, but we have to master some skills to assist them to be the social and to build this interpersonal relationship, to develop a loving relationship with our teenagers. If you don't do, somebody outside will do. We influence them and may not align it with the word of God. Then that is when our teenagers get it wrong. Words are powerful. Use them well. My 13-year-old, my son, when he was 13-year-old, came to meet me and said, Mom, I like a girl and I don't know how to, it's affecting me. I said, yay. I laughed. I said, yay, my son is growing up. Oh, you will expect that I was, during my days, I can't tell my parents that. They will beat you. You can't even, you don't have the effrontery to say that. He was surprised that Mommy took it like this. But of course, we have built our relationship up to a point for him to come to me and say that, of course. So it didn't happen overnight. Remember, my passion is to help my son walk through that landmine of emotion that he's feeling and come out in flying colors. I needed to show him my maturity and to also tell him that I empathize, that I was once a teenager, so I know how it feels. I don't know who amongst you here, those listening to me, that will say they've never liked a boy when they were a teenager. That's a lie. So I was happy he's having that emotions, So I asked, how do you want to handle the situation? Of course, you will expect that he will say, no, I don't know what to do and all that. So I said, how do you think we would love you to handle the situation? And he said, yes, that he knows that he can't do anything about it. Yes, of course, he knows he can't. He came from a Christian home. He can't do anything about that emotion. But how can we channel it is what I'm after. So I need to prompt him, ask him questions based on how I have brought him up. He should know what to do, but he's confused because of his emotions to now pinpoint the exact thing he needed to do. So we walk through the process. And one thing which I want us to realize is that you need to repeat back to them sometimes what they've told you. You just don't assume that you've heard the right thing. Did you just tell me that you like a girl? It's different from the, hey, did you just tell me that you like a girl? It's different. So I don't solve the problem for them. In fact, one of the things which I've enjoyed is I don't solve problem for them. I ask them, what do you think we can do? Because I don't know it all. So it gives them space to explore their thinking and come up with solution, most especially when the subject is that sensitive. It can make or mar your relationship with your child or if you're a guardian to any child you're taking care of. Don't start dishing it out. Okay, you know what to do. Let us think out the process, because each child is different. How your parents handle you can't handle them that same way because they're different. And I would say that in allowing them to think through situations, you're raising a man, not a mama's boy. So don't use words like, don't think that they are kids and they can't think. then don't interrupt them, for goodness sake. When you interrupt them, you are saying they don't matter. Then they learn to shut up, to shut down wherever you are. We don't want that. Very soon, the game will change. Why? Because they will now become adults, successful, bigger, richer, influential, and they will pay you back. So I need parents to start paying forward now. Listen, this way you are building up character, you are building up confidence, you are helping them in their decision-making process. And one thing which I also did was I got help for him because he was in a boarding house. So I have already identified his housemaster as a father figure and of like mind. I spoke with him and were able to help him through that process. Ask him years later, he doesn't like the same girl again. So what are we talking about? So don't wait till your kids get to this stage before you know who to run to. Plan. When you give birth to a child, you start looking for hospital to register. Not that the child is sick, but you want to put things in place. So why not look around? I have walked through many landmines with Buki several times with her children. We pray together. We put each other into the hands of God. So who do you talk to? I don't mean gossip about your children, but I'm talking about people that you can rely on to give you advice in season. We sometimes cannot handle it ourselves because we are going through things in our lives, right? I have been a teens teacher for a long time, but sometimes I have issues of my own I'm dealing with. And, when somebody helps you out to try and sort out the emotions you are feeling and help your child out, then it becomes easier. Sometimes our pastors know how to pray, but they can't actually help this process we are talking about. So look for who can assist you ahead of time. And sometimes your spouse is as clueless as yourself. They don't know what to do as well. My husband didn't even respond. So it can be that bad. So why is it important for us to do all these things? It makes us approachable. It makes us, our children want to talk to us. It will be funny. When I sit down with my children, we can talk for hours. We always have something to talk about. But leave them in the room with their dad. Silence will dominate. In fact, everybody will start watching TV. So it helps to develop trust between you and your children. They open up to you. Then to help them to make important decisions in their. You won't be with them forever. They're going to stand alone by themselves one day. Will they keep running to you? Then their wife will say that you didn't do a good job. So it also removes you as a enemy. I hated my parents when I was a teenager. I'm very sorry, mom and dad. I love you, but I hated them when I was a teenager. I wish them all the bad things you can wish somebody. But right now, I'm thankful that God did not answer that prayer at that time because they are pillars for me today. Then it also boosts your patience. You, as moms, as carers, we are busy, but it develops patience in you. It and also helps you not to be an unfair judge because you've cultivated the habit of intentional listening, actively listening to your children. These are stages which you need to go through with your children. But when done right, it will give you peace. But it will take your time. Now, to just follow up on the things we are saying, I'm rounding up. When all the body falls asleep at night, the last part of the body to fall asleep is the ears. God has given us 2 ears for a reason and just one mouth. Pray with your children. In fact, invoke an atmosphere of prayer in their rooms. How do you do this? As teenagers, they tend to stay alone in their room. They don't want anybody to come and disturb them. When they are gone out on errands, go to their room. Speak in tongues. Pray. Charge the atmosphere. Touch their objects, things of theirs. Pray on it. When we were little, the mentality of our parents was to put Bible by her, where we sleep in the cot and thinking that that's got anything to do with whatever is going on. But I know we know better. So then it also, I don't want us to just pray about the academics because it's not all about it. The emotional maturity matters a lot. And that is what we stand the test of time. Many of us did not practice what we studied in school. Yeah, I never did. Anyway, I don't know. if any other person did. So before you go on Instagram, on social media to invest your time and data to the success of the influencers on these mediums, I want you to ask yourself, have I given quality investment into the life of my child today? I'm not talking about cooking or keeping their house or helping them with homework. That they are pretty important, but I'm talking about just talking when every other thing has left there. If we look into the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 3, verse 5 to 10. 1 Samuel, chapter 3, verse 5 to 10. I'm sure you will see from that place the story about Samuel. Samuel was a child that the mother, brought up and went to give to God, to serve God. But one thing which I want us to realize, I love the mom so much. She brought up that child in such a way that when the child left and went to Eli's house, despite the fact that Eli's children were misbehaving, Samuel never misbehaved. All through his days, he was consistent. But I want to say that sadly, he didn't pass on that thing to his children. Well, I know many of us, we've scaled through a lot of stages, but will our children scale and get to this stage where we are? How are we handling things? Samuel, moms did a fantastic job. Timothy is another example. Moses, our Lord Jesus Christ is a perfect example. When he went away from the community where he was with his parents asked him questions and they listened, even though they didn't understand. And are you listening? Are you caring for the sheep in your care? Evangelism starts from your home, from your sitting room, from your bedroom. When you put your children on your laps, evangelism starts from there. Jesus said, my sheep know my voice and follow. Are you listening to be heard? A gardener tends, they sow and they reap. What will you reap? What are you sowing? Are you listening? Are you sowing to reap the harvest? I mean, if you can't listen to them, how do you expect them to listen to you about God? Then how will they believe you that your Father in heaven listens? I'm just going to round up briefly that I want to charge us as parents that it's not in the things that people can see us do. It's in the little things that are not easily seen by eyes. But if you take time, patiently developing, cultivating this relationship with the children, with your teenagers, you can apply some of these principles to the younger ones as well. You will reap a bountiful harvest of it. The Bible says, train up a child in the way it should go. And when that child is grown, he will not depart from it. May the Lord bless us. Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we thank you. We worship you. We bless your holy name. We give you praise for a time like this in your presence. Thank you, Father, for your word that has come forth today. Daddy, we pray, oh Lord, you help us not just to be hearers. We will be doers as well in the mighty name of Jesus. Help us to be channel of listening love to our children in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Father, for all you've done for us. In Jesus' name, we have prayed. Amen.
Amen. In Jesus' name. Thank you very much, Pastor. So I am really blessed. Thank you so much. I feel like